Why is it important that we understand what science says and what is science and what does that all mean? We're going to really dive deep into uncovering that. What specifically is the science of reading? And so I have two articles that I'm going to be sharing with you and kind of discussing as we go. The first is the science of reading research by the ASCD. And here's what they said. And I think this is really, really important as we take a look at this. It says, instead of looking, this is what some teachers do, right? Instead of looking at authoritative and valid evidence of what works, teachers frequently rely on experience and anecdotal information to guide their teaching, which doesn't seem harmful at all, right? As you take a look at that, yeah, if you've got experience and you know what you're doing, this is great. It says, although experience is valuable, it is, depending on experience alone, without the research, right? Just your own experience, without finding out what have people who have come before me done and what has worked, it's going to leave many children behind. They say to provide reading instruction that will enable all students to succeed, educators must also have the basic information about scientific knowledge, how it is developed, how it should guide the selection and implementation of instructional programs, strategies, and approaches. And this is so key. So they're saying, well, I love what they're saying here, because they're saying, look, it's not that what your experience doesn't matter. Your experience does matter, but your experience is not enough alone. That would be like a doctor who just relied on their experience for treating patients, but never stayed up to date on what the research was saying and what the best practices were, right? And they would stay stuck in old times. They wouldn't be continuing to, hone in on their craft, get better results for their patients, right? And so this is the same kind of thing with teaching reading. All right, let's take a look here. So what is scientific evidence, right? I think this is really important for us to know, like when we're talking about the science of reading, what does that specifically mean? And here it says, scientific research begins with clear, answerable questions. At the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development, complex questions guide researchers as they examine instructional methods or programs for teaching reading. Researchers consider not just what works in general, but also what specific instructional methods work for which students and under which conditions. Multiple researchers may study the same questions. The accumulation of research, not just the results from one study, constitutes scientific evidence, right? So it is so important that we are getting our evidence from multiple research experiments. So this is so important, you guys. So important. And I want you guys to really just understand and think about, like, how does this impact then my reading tutoring, right? If you're basing your reading tutoring off of just, let's just do some fun, activities and play some fun games, but it's not backed by what does research say are best practices with reading, you may struggle with being able to get results for your students. And this is why I am so passionate about helping other teachers learn what those best practices are. And here's the thing. We know that good reading instruction includes phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, right? These are 5 components that can be taught to students so that they can have effective instruction, right? How we go about teaching each of those different things is now also needs to be backed up with evidence, right? So you'll hear lots of claims of systematic approach to teaching phonics, right? Specific and systematic. Yes, we definitely want that. We want to have a clear approach to teaching it. But as tutors, we've got a different job, and a lot of the research is geared completely towards classroom education, which makes our job just a little bit more difficult because we have something else we have to do, right? We have to find out, what have the children learned? What are they struggling with? What do I need to teach them? And if you want to get the quickest results, you need to have this solid understanding of what the science says about reading. And the more that you educate yourself, the more you put yourself into situations where you have the opportunity to read books, read different, go to different conferences, continue to talk with other educators, the more that you can build up your own professional development, you're going to be able to make the best instructional decisions for the students that you encounter. So that is exactly what we're going to be continuing to dive deeper on into as we go on into the conference. And I am so excited that we really are, as tutors, going to be working through, what does this mean for my instruction? What resources and tools can I use to support my students? What are the top, scientists saying? And you'll learn more about that as you guys join us for the opportunity, April 29th, The Science of Teaching Reading. Make sure to sign up and don't miss out on it.